A very good morning to you and welcome to today's episode of Sports Chatter here on Crown TV. I am your host, Linosi Victoria, and today we're going to be talking about National Division playoffs. Obviously, the league is obviously done. That's the MTN Super League. Now we're going to see teams from the lower division that are going to advance to the MTN Premier League. So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about all things the World Cup, obviously with the focus on African teams. We have had very interesting results, very interesting performances from African teams at the World Cup. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about. In the studio with me is Mulenga Kaunda, who's going to help me talk about these topics. Mulenga, welcome to the show.
Thanks, and good morning to you, and good morning to our viewers.
This is the first time we're having this interaction, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And
yes, I've just been watching you on TV with Dash.
Well, yeah, it's our first time that we are together on set. Not sure what happened with the colors, but anyway, I guess so.
I know, can you imagine? So I'm meaning the spirits have agreed to say, okay, these two, yes. Yeah, it can work out on set. Yeah. So let's talk about the National Division playoffs. We'll go straight into it. We have teams, obviously, draws that were done yesterday at the Football House. Just take me through. First of all, let's talk about the women's group.
Yeah, the National Division 1 playoffs, I think it's an interesting week. Whenever these games comes up, it's an annual event. And when it's this week, the MTN Super League and the other major leagues are off in the country. So most of the focus when it comes to local football is on the playoffs. And the groups are quite interesting. The Group A, that is where we have... I think in Group A, we do have Power Dynamos Queens. We also have Zambia Rockets Queens of Luapula Province, Power Dynamos from us.
I'm happy that there's Power Dynamos Queens there because obviously we have not had a team from Power Dynamos, a ladies team from Power Dynamos. Now that their senior team, their men's team are doing fine. I mean, it's about time we have a women's team also. I think it's long overdue.
Yeah, it is, and it's good that they've managed to win the provincial Division 1.
And they are in the playoffs.
And they are in the playoffs. So they have what it takes to compete amongst the other provincial winners. Green Buffaloes last year were part of the playoffs, but they couldn't qualify because of some off-field issues that made them to lose some points. And at the end of it, they were not able to qualify. So they are in the same group as Zambia Rockets of Luapula Province, not forgetting Power Dynamos, like we mentioned, Nangweshi Pirates of Western Province. So it's an interesting group that when you look at the teams that are there, that is Power Dynamos, Zambia Rockets, Nangweshi Pirates, Green Buffaloes, and of course Bats FC from Southern Province. On paper, you could argue that based on the names, you might fancy Power Dynamos Queens, and probably you'd also do that with Green Buffaloes girls. But at the end of it, we know what happens in football. It's played on the pitch, 11v11. So when the games begin on Monday, it'll be quite interesting to see how the Power Dynamos and Green Buffaloes game is going to shape up at Queensmead. That is already going to be an exciting fixture to look out for at 12 hours. And Zambia Rockets up against Nangweshi Pirates, two sides with different ambitions, different prospects coming into these fixtures, so it will be equally another exciting game. And we shouldn't. One thing that we should brace ourselves for women's football. Some cricket scorelines are going to be recorded.
I know, because obviously Green Buffaloes have very good, despite it being a junior team. Obviously, you would expect very good players from there.
Yeah, you should, and it's a well-organized team, despite obviously one would argue based on what happened to them at the playoffs last year. But it's a team that is here to compete, and they should learned their lessons from last year, and they would want to make...
I mean, it's about consistency. They are back to try and rectify the mistakes that they made in the previous games.
And they have to just make sure that the girls who made them reach this far should be the ones to be given the right to play, and they've earned it this far. So let them be given a chance to so that they push the team going beyond.
Oh yeah, the problem. I like that point where you're saying the players that have qualified the team to this stage, they should be the ones to play. Yeah, we have seen such things happening where they try to change just because they are in these games. So even on both, even in the men's side, you'll find that some of the players that have helped the team qualify to these games, to this stage of the competition, they are sidelined.
So what are some? There are instances where, like I think last year we recorded a situation where a team was docked 3 points for fielding a player who is ineligible to play, and when days went by and you've discovered that player, he didn't even play, he was on the bench, but the rules are that once you put the player on that team sheet, you have fielded that player and he was eligible to, you had the plan to introduce him on the pitch should you have needed his services and the like. So once that is done, that's where teams now get to suffer. They dock 3 points and some go the loudest, crying on top of the mountains. But when they do the introspections, they find that maybe they did not do the right thing during the transfer window, registering of the players like it is at the moment. The window is open, but the players for the playoffs are the ones who are registered for the 2025-26 season which just ended. So this is part of last season, and the players who are supposed to feature, who are eligible, are those that featured for their respective teams in the previous campaign.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Mr. Mulenga yesterday emphasized on that, like on the rules, because we've seen year in, year out, we see all these teams fielding in eligible players. That shouldn't happen. I mean, it just shows that you're not serious. There's no way that you can start changing from a team that you had and then you want to bring in somebody else.
Yeah, you could argue like that. And of course, there are certain times when the team comes with a lot of expectations. We just have to qualify. We just have to qualify. So when they lose a football match, because they are just so engulfed in trying to qualify, when they lose a football match and then they start, let's now go through the starting lineups. Do we have any issues? Do we have any issues after losing maybe on the pitch? So again, at the end of it, football has to be noted. It has to be won fairly, squarely on the pitch. But again, sometimes when you don't follow the rules, it's unfortunate that some people might win the games through the boardroom when in the actual sense, we need to be seeing people winning the games on the pitch, and we are not going to refer to Senegal and Morocco's AFCON final.
I know. So in that group, which teams do you think are going to qualify?
For the girls?
Yes.
That's a tough one to call, but I think Green Buffaloes, having learned their lessons last year, I think they should pull through.
Yeah.
I'm caught in between Nangweshi and Power Dynamos. Obviously, I haven't watched them.
So Power Dynamos, obviously, I think because it's a new team.
The only team I've watched here is Green Buffaloes Women. I watched them last year at the playoffs. So I've also watched Sunshine Rockets because of some time. Obviously, I have a Wapula background and I'm based in there. I'm based in Mansa. So I have watched Sunshine Rockets. They're quite good. They were going toe-to-toe with another team in Wapula called Chipembele Police Queens. It's Chipembele who won last year. And the other year it was Sunshine Rockets. So these are the two previous winners for Wapula Province, Sunshine Rockets and Chipembele. It is now the turn for Sunshine Rockets. The last time they were here, they never scored a goal. They will be hoping that they might score a goal. But in terms of progression, I think I would go for Green Buffaloes and Power Dynamos. Okay.
Power, they are a new side. For me, I haven't even watched them. Power Dynamos, Green Buffaloes, I've watched them. They are quite good in terms of playing. But same as Power Dynamos, I can base my argument on maybe them getting inspired by the men.
That's the thing. Not really like, because like I mentioned, I've only watched Green Buffaloes girls and Sunshine Rockets there. But having watched Sunshine Rockets, I know maybe they may be punching above their weight on and off the pitch with a few issues here and there. So Nangweshi Pirates, they're quite confident as well. Then they've seen the buzz that has been coming in from Western Province. But just maybe Power might have a slight edge looking at the inspiration they might
from
just
the men, like back to back, and also want to join in the Super League. That's amazing. Let's move forward and talk about the men's group, or the men's. That's Group A we're looking at. Yes. Let's look at Group B actually before we go to the men's side. We'll look at Group B and see which teams are there. Okay, wait, there you go. There's Lumwana Angels, there's Kumawa Stars, Clemson Queens, there's Chunku Queens, and Mwenzo Queens.
Another interesting group there, because Clemson Queens will be here hoping that we need to carry the northern circuit. The pride of the northern circuit is on their shoulders. I think Lumwana Angels as well. We're talking about getting inspiration from the men's side. Maybe getting something from the Lumwana Radiance men's side could also be something that could inspire the Angels of Lumwana. But Kumawa Stars as well, they may be hoping that this is their time to shine the brightest at the playoffs. Mwenzo Queens are equally there with Lonchu. A tough group to call, but I think as days goes by, beginning on Monday, we will be getting a much more clearer picture. But that's the beauty of the playoffs. You get to watch the players that you don't even expect. You don't even know what to expect from them. And then when you see it and you're like, look at that one. They have a tendency of unearthing some special gems.
Yeah.
And you just look at the player and you're like, oh, that's one for the future.
Yeah.
And who knows, we might be talking about somebody playing for the national team having showcased their talent through the playoffs.
Yeah, for the ladies, I agree on that. But for the gents, I don't think there's a lot of. Most of the time, you find that same person that you're looking at who's playing very good, they have a history of being maybe in the Super League. They failed, they just went down here and all those things, and you find that they're well old. You know, such kind of a thing. So yes, you might find one or two younger players, but when it comes to the age that you would really want to get and maybe groom the national team and whatnot, usually it's not there with the guys.
Yeah, and obviously we'll come to them a little further, but I think for the girls that the Group B will be another group to look out for. I think it's worth mentioning that I think Queensmead and Queensmead, one group will be at Queensmead. That's where they are going to be playing their games from. So we will be looking forward to an interesting week of football, so that we see how talented these provincial champions are for women's football. Yeah,
definitely. So which two do you think are going to go through?
This one is like off the cuff now. So for the girls, I think Lumwana Angels. Maybe I would feel they might just have their time to show that this is how good they can be. So I'm really not picking, but it's just a random selection on this one. So I think Lumwana might be able to pull through, as well as Lunchu Queens.
Okay. All right. Let's move forward and talk about the men's draw. Let's look at Group A of the men's side. Group A. Let's take a look at Group A. So Group A, we have Mpande Youth Academy. Boys, we have Forest Mioe. This team has been making noise on social media.
It has.
But they play some good football. Watch them. They play some good football, actually. Barose Crocs also, Solwezi, Mushitala, and Play It Forward.
4 out of 5 in that group were at the ABSA preliminaries.
They were, yes. And, that's why I watched them, actually. That's why I watched them.
So, Forest Mioye, they are a good side. John Mwansa is undoubtedly one of the players to look out for, who plays for them. I think Bevin Mwilam is rarely in the starting 11, but he's given some minutes off the bench. So, I think Forest Mioye could be one of those teams to look out for. Play It Forward. They thumped Mathcat United in the ABSA Cup when they played at Kabwe's Railway Stadium. So it's another side to look to, which on their day actually they can be quite good, and the quality of the opponents is similar. So there's nothing like you are afraid of the opponents, because you face it. You are the provincial champion, so you need to be there with the confidence and believing that you can actually do something. So Play It Forward are quite good. Solwezi Moshitala, we saw what they did at the competition as well. They were equally good. Barose Crocs, they didn't have the best of outings. They looked good at the
They came with the swag,
and that's the biggest highlight for them. So Mpande Youth Academy, I think it's interesting to note that Edward Chilufya was once from Mpande Youth Academy in Northern Province. So Mpande Youth Academy are here, and they're quite confident. Yesterday at the playoffs, during the draws, their representative was quite confident, Mr. Mpande, that we can actually pull through. We're here to fight, and we're not here. We're not scared of anyone. So a good group. Play It Forward. I know the next question which would come, but Forest Mioye could pull through. And again, it remains to be seen between Solwezi, Mushitala, and Play It Forward. Which way will it go? But I think Play It Forward could be able to pull through from that group. The qualification mode for this playoffs is interesting for the men, because up to 6 teams can qualify. 5. The top 2 from 2 groups will qualify. That makes it 4. And then after the 2 groups, once the games are done on Friday, there will be one table which is going to be generated for Group A and Group B. They will be merged to make one table. So the top 5 after that then will progress. Then afterwards, the team that will be 6th will now play with River Plate, which was better placed when relegation was done for the National Division 1. So River Plate will have a playoff again with a team that will finish 6th after all the 10 teams have been ranked. Now that team will have a playoff with River Plate on a date which is going to be announced obviously by FAZ. But there are more opportunities for you to qualify, unlike last year when it was just 4, or the way there's been in the past.
The teams have been increased, so
there's a bigger chance.
There's a bigger chance.
Whoever doesn't qualify, wherever they are coming from, they will, you had more chances.
Yeah.
What happened?
Okay, so that's his prediction with regards to teams that are likely to advance and qualify for the Super League. You can also come through on 0979958392 and give us your contribution with regards to what we're discussing. That is in terms of National Division playoffs. That kickstarts on Monday. Yeah, I like the fact that they brought in 2 players from the Chipolopolo boys.
Oh yeah,
Benson Sakala and Kings Kangwa.
I think that would have been more inspirational if
the players were there. Yeah,
but the draws, you don't take the players. Maybe the captain or something.
Yeah,
but ultimately, still, we know the pictures have been trending on of Benson Sakala having spared some time to go there. Cleans Kangwa. If he would have loved, he would have been somewhere else. But he said, let me honor the invitation. And Cleans was the Israeli player of the season from the previous season. So he scored.
He's one of the very few players that is doing fine, that you can say, okay, if he all goes to the West, you can include him.
Why did you say few?
Because I mean, he is. Which other players have been consistent in terms of the national team? There's no. He is one of the consistent players.
Oh yeah, so it was good that Cleans Kangwa was there and Benson Sakala. He's the one who lifted the AFCON, the under-20 AFCON trophy in 2017. He was the captain by then. So it's good that
it's all about history that remains in the past. Well, we can't talk about we can't put that, we can't push that into the current happenings. It's not that good at the moment.
All right, but
we don't have to be honest. I'm telling you,
like Victoria. But obviously it was good that Cleans Kangwa and Benson Sakala were there to just do the draws for both men and women. And I think generally for the players who watched via various social media platforms, I think they could draw some inspiration, because these are players they may look up to and say, I would one day want to be in the national team. And when you want to be in the national team, you need to be good at your football club. And these two have been quite consistent where they played from. Cleans Kangwa, like we mentioned, he had a good goal involvement for his team, club, and
individual accolades, even just the team accolades.
He shows, and at the end of it all, the draws were done, and it was good that they were part of it. Yeah,
definitely. Let's take a look at Group B of the national playoffs. Okay, yes. So we have Zambezi Portland. That is, it looks like a cement company. Reuna Konde, Matkat, Nampundwe, and Mika.
Wow, Zambezi Portland, Copperbelt Province, Reuna Konde, Muchinga, Mathcat United from Luapula Province, Nampundwe, Lusaka, Mika, Eastern Province. Another group that obviously we have some teams to look out for. Zambezi Portland would want to equally stake their claim right from the onset. Reuna Konde have played top tier division football in our country, so they would want to go back there. But part of the route for them to find themselves in the MTN Super League would be through the National Division 1. For Mathcat United, the Manganese boys, last year they were at the playoffs. They had a very good chance. They probably could have managed, but they were docked points. We're talking about those issues. And Nampundwe, the champions of the provincial league, obviously there were issues, boardroom matters here and there. Before the ABSA, there were some cases that were under the disciplinary committee. Mika of Eastern Province, they are up there and they are the provincial champions. But ultimately, the good part is that yesterday, in part of the meeting, teams were talked to, just to mention on the issue of player eligibilities, they were talk of, they will release the registered players for each team. That way, I think that one dispels the issues of saying, this one is eligible, is not eligible, because they have sent you the players who are eligible as the whole team. So you're able to see that, okay, it's just a matter of confirming, is this face what is appearing on the cards we were sent? And all that good. So on the pitch, Zambezi Portland, obviously the Copperbelt has a very good record of qualifying through the playoffs. Only once has ever a team from Copperbelt failed to qualify through the playoffs, and that was Ron United in 2023. But now they managed to qualify last year through the playoffs. So they'll be hoping Zambezi Portland would continue with the Copperbelt qualification through the playoffs. Reuna Konde, we know that they managed to beat teams like Muchinga Blue Eagles, who came last year at the playoffs. So it is their time now to show that we are back, and we mean business this time around. Mathcat United, they learned their lessons last year. They missed out on the qualification with the five slots that are there at the moment, and the sixth one through the playoffs. They have to make sure that they are part of the five, so that they are not going to endure another playoff. For Nampundwe, I think they are going to have the 12th player, it being within Lusaka, games being played at Lilai. They will be hoping that more are going to make their way to that venue. Mika in Eastern Province, they would want to add Chipata City Council. Mika would want to be amongst those teams that are in Eastern Province in the National Division 1.
Yeah.
But it's a very tough group to call, just like in the other one. And I have a very soft spot for Mathcat United, obviously, with Mael Wapula. So I think I'm hoping that Mathcat United will qualify. So I would fancy them to go through along with Zambezi Portland in the top 2. And maybe because there will be that we're having a minimum of 5 to go through at the initial stage. So that maybe that's where I feel Reuna Conde from Group A and another team from Group B, between the two might, whoever is going to have the better goal defense and all those issues comes into play. But I think Zambezi Portland and Mathcat United from Group B, slightly more with my head and my heart predicting.
Yeah,
so it's a bit
more
of both.
on your heart when it comes to Mathcat. Yes. So what I love about these playoffs, there's almost all the time new teams.
Yeah, there is.
It's very interesting to see. Almost all the time, you don't see the same teams coming through. It's different teams almost all the time.
And ideally, you don't have to see the same teams. If you see the same team,
that tells you that there's a lot of competition.
And if you see the same team coming back, it shows, one, on their parts, it shows that we learned our lessons and we are coming back.
Yes.
On the other side of the coin, it's showing that last time when they were here, they failed.
Yeah.
That's why they are back again. But they went back and did the right thing.
Yeah.
So it will be quite interesting to see how the games are going to turn up, because at the end of it, or in the provinces, obviously, it's difficult to declare support for some of us in the province for any football team.
Yeah.
But when the team wins promotion, you root for them if you are from that particular province. So despite, I know pretty well that Sancha Rockets Queens are punching above their weight, but I'll be rooting for them, and equally for the Manganese boys. I'll be hoping that. Just like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's his take. You can also come through and give us your contribution with regards what you think, which teams you think will advance from Group B of the playoffs. Let's move on and talk about the World Cup.
Oh yeah.
The World Cup is, I think, in 10 days or 11 days now. Eish! Obviously, African teams have given us mixed kind of results. Obviously, there's a lot of talk with regards the performance of South Africa. Morocco, they started very well, actually. They played against Brazil in that particular opening fixture, and they drew, which is a very good result. So let's talk about the way African teams have played so far. Let's start with Morocco. Okay, we've seen them play the first game.
And the second game.
And the second game, which they've won, actually. And they are one of the teams that look like they can qualify to the round of 32. So let's talk about Morocco.
I think Morocco are showing the class that they have in their team. Said Barry, just recently, he's been linked with a move to the Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. So Said Barry undoubtedly should be joining, obviously subject to passing the medical. Said Barry will be joining Bayern Munich. And that's how good he has been. 2 goals so far at the World Cup, and the goal he scored against Scotland, that was a good goal. So Morocco showed class, and they have it plenty, because Ibrahim Diaz, who plays for Real Madrid, they have the players who plays for big teams. Ashraf Hakimi recently won the Champions League with Paris Saint-Germain. Nusair Mazraoui, who plays at left back with Manchester United. We're talking about players who are playing for big teams, and they are there to show the quality when they come to play for Morocco. So
even just the way they played in Qatar, they want to pick up from there, I think. Obviously, they were semi-finalists in that competition, and they want to start on a bang.
Because no team has ever reached the semi-finals at the World Cup. So Morocco has set the bar so high.
Very high.
We feel like it's either you equal or better what Morocco did.
Definitely,
and you could only dare to dream if we were to better what Morocco did as Africans. So,
and they're not playing at the moment. They're doing fine. At the moment, they're second. They're second in the group.
With 4 points, I think they are all but through to the round of 32. They're not obviously yet fully confirmed, but with the number of points they have, knowing that the top 2 winners and the third placed finisher, the third placed team will go through. I think we confidently say that Morocco should be able to pull through. But because they are in the same group as Brazil, who announced themselves in style in last night's game against Haiti. I think they didn't have the best of games in the first day against Morocco, and Carlo Ancelotti made some changes, and he brought in Mateus Cunha up top to spearhead the attack of the Seleção. Vinicius Jr. also with the assist in that game, and he scored a goal. And I think they needed that, Brazil. They needed to get that win, to just announce themselves and say, hang on a moment, don't rule us out. Do that, do it on your peril. And I think they are back. Not so sure how far they will go, but in the meantime, Brazil, the Samba boys, they are dancing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a strong squad. Look at those players we've mentioned. They're good players. Let's move on and talk about South Africa.
Oh yeah.
South Africa played the first game, they lost. Okay. And then they played the second game, they drew. So let's talk about the first game. Obviously, we know what has been happening with regards to South Africa, and they haven't been given the support from African teams. Obviously, because of what the majority of the African teams haven't given them support. Obviously, that I feel like partly it got to them. Looking at what William said just the other day.
Yeah, looking at what he said, and that is where sometimes I remember there was a certain coach should have been in the Premier League, mentioned that physical fitness of a player is very important, but the psychological fitness being ready psychologically is equally good, because having gone through all that banter that I was going through on social media, and you know what, we need to also bear with these players. You are on your phone, and sometimes they don't even want to see anything, but it just pops up on your phone, and then you say, people are talking about us in a negative way.
Don't you think so? Maybe they should stay away from their phones when they're going for Manchester United like this.
Again. So
I know
it's a very tough world we live in, but I think that's where they need to grow thick-skinned, and then psychologically need to be ready that despite the backlash that may come through from sections of Africa.
But I think the issues did not start from African teams not supporting them. It came from their issues in terms of management. Visas. You remember there was also the issues of
going
visas.
to Mexico and the likes. Yes. But I think ultimately South Africa in the group they needed to be braver in making the decisions, and against Mexico, obviously they were well beaten in that game.
I mean, looking at South Africa, the South Africa of maybe years ago, this group shouldn't be that tough.
Well, I would tell you that it still would be tough, because Mexico.
It shouldn't be. I mean, Mexico. It's just because they are hosts and they have they have the 12th man, which is the support. Look at how Mexico played. How many chances did they have in that particular game? I mean, they only managed to score 2 goals.
Well, you could argue that if we had the previous teams of South Africa, they could have put up a very different fight here But looking at Mexico again, they would argue that when we go back to yesteryears with Marquez in midfield, with and everyone can still bring out their big players from the past, and they say, you know what, we can still be able to punch and be able to get the result. South Korea, we go back, we are bringing now Ji-Sung Park, we want to bring them back and the like. So, and it's a team that has constantly been there at the World Cup, and they've always been able to fight above. The Czech Republic, at the moment, they have Patrick Schick up top as the striker, and Thomas Suchek, the midfielder, and other members of the squad who are quite good as well, and it's a team to look out for as well. So they suffered the first defeat in the first game. But South Africa, having lost that first game, I think that was a major blow on their part. Getting a point, the Mokoena goal from the sport kick, that was a huge moment in his career. He obviously will not be available for the next game against South Korea. But it's good that they got something, and they can take it into the South Korean game. But we know just how tough
I highly doubt that would be very tough, because the game they needed to win and they would have won is the Czech Republic game. But they had several chances in that, but they messed it up.
Exactly, and they gave away a cheap goal which they conceded.
And they woke up late. They woke up late. They started pushing, like really pushing towards the end. So I think, anyway, we'll wait and see. Football is round. It can go either way.
You can't dispel anything totally before it is played. But we know what they are facing. They are facing a South Korean side that even those players who haven't been starting, they might be given a chance. But mathematically, they haven't qualified South Korea to the round of 32.
No,
so they are going into this game trying to give it all. They would want to give it their all, because Czech Republic are on 1 point. They are up against Mexico. Mexico have already qualified. Maybe some of the major players in the starting 11 might be rested for the game. So Czech Republic might capitalize on that, and it might work to their advantage. So South Korea knows that they need to go on and win, because South Africa will also be having a bit of some inspiration that, you know what, if we do the unexpected against the odds, we beat South Korea, then we stand a chance of advancing. So
most of the teams that will have 4 points will stand a chance of.
Sure.
Yes. So let's move forward and talk about Algeria. They lost to, obviously, we can say Messi. They lost to Messi.
And I think they've launched a complaint to FIFA on, I think, I want to believe that you've also seen the video of Messi stepping on their captain in the 30th minute. They feel that should have been a red card, or at least something that would have been looked at. But it was never looked at. Not so sure if it's because of Messi or the VAR didn't see that. But I think it's a competition that Algeria has come in to show that they are quite good as well. They can play, and we've seen now what they've been doing in Africa. But I think against Argentina, it was a daunting task altogether, and they were just no match to Lionel Messi whenever he stepped up.
I mean, Algeria is not a team like if we can say 5-6 years ago when the Riyad Mahrez were at their peak and did a lot for, and that's a period, that's when they even won the Africa Cup. Yes. I don't think it's anyway. Obviously, Argentina, they are the defending champions. They will come in with full force and everything. I mean, even that complaint, if they're given
there's nothing which is going to change, obviously, but so, it's just a complaint that they launched. But with the games that we have seen so far, they've played one, and it wasn't a good game. It was a game to forget on their part. Yeah. And they will be hoping that in the next game they can pick something out to take in the last game.
They're playing Jordan next.
Oh yeah, so it's against Jordan. They will be hoping. I think they have to believe that. I think
Jordan already picked a point.
Yes, Jordan picked a point, and Algeria, they know that in this group that we are in, if we don't get anything out of the game against Jordan, then we might as well forget about. Yes. This is a big penultimate game on their part if they are to continue their journey with the World Cup, and they just have to get something out of this game.
Let's talk about Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast started very well with the win. They beat Ecuador 1-0 in their opening, and they face Germany tonight.
Wow, what a game.
What a game. You can say that again. What a game. That will be a very interesting fixture.
It will be, because Germany is well equipped with the defense. Joshua Kimmich, he's been playing so well. Yeah. And Mano Neuer, obviously in goal, he conceded, and he wouldn't.
I mean, that one is likely to even be played. I mean, players the tournament looking at what he's done in the past.
Of course, in midfield, we are seeing how things the squad again. Julian Nagelsmann is utilizing the full depth of the squad. We saw the substitutions that he made after they were leading, and they went on to win with a comfortable win. I should mention, so they can afford to make some changes here and there. But for the game tonight against Ivory Coast, Germany knows we win today and we are guaranteed of a place in the round of 32. Not that they wouldn't even in the last game to qualify, but they have to finish the job tonight and maybe rest one of their players for the last game. Leroy Sané obviously is one of those who needs to step up and perhaps do more and be more clinical up top there. We've seen Kai Havertz with the penalty that he scored, but he's always there. He's a man that steps up for the big moments, for the big occasions. He's always there. Jamal Musiala has been playing quite well so far at the World Cup. He's been creating a few chances. So I think they are well equipped with the players who are able to, unlock any defense out there and be able to find the back of the net. And they can still try to believe with Julian Nagelsmann that maybe they can try and see how far they can go with this year's World Cup.
Are you saying Ivory Coast don't stand a chance?
They do stand a chance. They do. They do.
I'm seeing you are just talking about Germany.
No, they do stand a chance.
Let's talk about
Amad Diallo obviously coming in. He didn't start in the last game. Nicola Pepe started. He was preferred by the coach. And Diomande, he has been in form and he has been in demand by a number of big European players who is going to be up top there for the Côte d'Ivoire. So the Elephants, they are, I think this is the part where African teams now are going into a game. They're playing Germany and they're not saying that, oh, you know what, we're going to lose by a huge margin. They are going into this game thinking that, hang on a moment, we play with these guys almost week in, week out. We can still beat them. So I think Ivory Coast do still stand a chance, and I think they can even maybe score a goal or two. I just feel maybe because of how Germany started last weekend, it won't be obviously the similar scoreline, but I just feel maybe Germany might have enough in their locker to just go beyond Ivory Coast. But they are a very good team and they can still believe that they can still do something, and who knows if they were to beat them. Definitely. I think for me, it's possible to even get a draw, and if all goes to the West,
Ivory Coast should push for a draw so that they don't drop any point and seal their chance of advancing.
I think a draw is what they need to aim at. They can win.
Yeah, because they got the maximum points in the first game.
If they play really well, Frank Casey, Fofana in midfield, opening
it's very possible. That team is also strong. It's solid. Germany is, you cannot compare it to France or Argentina or even Brazil.
Germany do have a very good midfield, but obviously they needed a lethal striker. They don't have that out and out number 9 who is going to
and
be
they're back again.
Their
it's
chances.
Questionable.
So it's a good game for Ivory Coast. They have players who are quite trickery. They have the pace. They can cause havoc at the back for Germany, but just a bit of some precision from the German aspect. Maybe it could be what separates the two sides tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's move forward and talk about Congo DR. They're back after 52 years at the World Cup and managed to get their first ever point and go.
Wow.
And it's against which team? You are wearing the jersey, man.
Well, yeah. I was contemplating. Should I go with the DR Congo and and by the way, Mukenge and Mumbayachi is Shadrack Mukenge.
Why did you wear the Congolese jersey?
Okay, on a lighter note.
It's just that I didn't have the jersey for Congo. I wanted to wear because I was so happy and proud.
No, yeah, but anyway, I think DR Congo made Africa proud with how they performed on that day.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, obviously, focus would be on Ronaldo wasn't turning up. Ronaldo didn't do this, but I think we should also look at what DR Congo did.
Before you go forward, for me the issue was, first of all, the coach made a gamble when he started Ronaldo. I felt like they should have brought him in maybe a little bit later. I don't know whether they underestimated Congo.
No, that is the argument, that maybe you could bring in Ronaldo maybe in the last 30 minutes of the game, because at the moment you need to press, you need to defend you need to defend right from the top as a striker. Right, you need to start the one pressing and making sure that they're not comfortable with the ball at the back. But Ronaldo is not going to be the one who is going to be running up and down trying to press somebody. He's not going to be that person. And you know what? There were some
of the players were overworked even. Look at Bruno Fernandes, for example.
There were instances where he would be on the ball and he may look up who is making the run behind. Ronaldo is supposed to do that.
Yeah,
he wasn't doing all that. Well, you could argue that he wasn't given the service, but again, he was not making the runs that could allow the midfielders to release him and create the passes, because also Congo made sure that, I think on their part, they did well. Axel Twanzebe at the back, Chancellor Mbemba, the record appearance maker for DR Congo, was quite solid at the back for them.
Wan-Bissaka did well also.
Yes, and so did Pompey. Johan Bisa.
The goal scorer, obviously.
Johan Bisa rose the highest.
That was epic. That was amazing. And they didn't anticipate that.
They didn't.
And that's why he was unmarked. He was just there standing.
Just, when they scored, it was one of those where you say, okay, now the floodgates are open and think it will be now raining goals for Portugal. They might score in, and
it didn't happen like that.
Find himself on the back of might find himself on the score sheet. Bruno could be able to produce some assists because he's the Premier League player of the season. He's producing record assists for the season. I think he should bring that to the World Cup.
Right?
But again, somebody wasn't. Maybe you could argue, were they releasing Ronaldo, or it's Ronaldo not making the runs to get the ball?
He wasn't making the runs. Like, he was struggling. You could even count the number of times he had the ball. Because
when you're playing with the defense of DR Congo, I think you needed a little bit of some pace.
Yeah.
Chancellor Mbemba is above 30.
Yeah.
You need somebody who is fast. Goncalo Ramos came in late on for Portugal, but he didn't receive any service whatsoever. So I think Roberto Martinez does have his work cut out, and he need to maybe work on one or two things for his squad. He might have to make some changes and see how he accommodates Ronaldo, if he's going to be accommodated in the starting 11, or maybe it would come on in the second half, because if he continues to gamble and it fails, the games are finishing. And at the end of it, you're going to have one last chance alone in the final game of the group, which is always not going to deliver sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Congo is taking on Colombia in their second match. And Colombia is no, it's not. I thought it was Canada. It's Canada, the other host team. But they're playing Colombia next. Do you think they're going to get a win this time?
I think getting a draw against Portugal for any side, it would give them confidence and say, like,
Motivation
hang on a
also.
moment, we just got a draw against
Yeah.
Portugal. And when you look at the midfield of Portugal, João Neves, Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, these are players who are quite good. And for national teams, I'm not so sure there are many midfielders that are getting closer to the midfield that Portugal has. So when you get a draw against such a team, I think as the Leopards, you would now even open up your claws and say, like, the next prayer that we are going to catch, well, we'll have to suffer. So I think against Colombia, we know that the stadium will be painted yellow, how they turn up. James Rodriguez for Colombia, we saw what he did in the World Cup that announced his arrival at the big stage in Brazil. So good game, but I think Congo needs to believe that they can still get something out of this game, and I really feel they could, because Cedric Bakambu could have even scored a goal in that game.
Yes.
But I think he need to be more precise, and he need to shoot where
they had several chances that would have counted.
He was having moments where passing where he should shoot and shooting where he should pass. And if he finds the balance between those two, and because he's very good, he has the quality. I think Arthur Masuaku from the left back as well. I think they were using wing backs with the three at the back and Wan Bissaka and Masuaku as the wing backs. If they are good, they're able to bring in good crosses, and we hope that they are going to deliver for the game against Colombia.
Definitely. Congo, again, I think the other motivation was the fact that, first of all, they came in the best outfits and they were already hyped. A lot of people, do you know that a lot of people, because of how they looked, they were supporting them?
Well, I
saw on social media.
Yeah, that's why we're saying that I think Congo announced themselves on and off the pitch in style.
I mean,
off the pitch with those suits and on the pitch with a draw against Portugal. As they take on Colombia, which is the lead in the group, if they can manage to hold on for a draw as the bare minimum for that game and beat Uzbekistan, who are coached by a World Cup winner in Cannavaro, story for another day. But if Congo can get a result against Colombia, going into the final game against Uzbekistan, they are going to be able to even believe that they can still create something special for those back home in Lubumbashi.
Definitely. Egypt drew against Belgium.
Good game.
Are we going to see much from the Mo Salahs?
We may not see much from Mo Salah, just like we may not see much from Kevin De Bruyne. But on their day, we know that they are quite good. And if you give them any space or chance, they are quite lethal. And last time, I think Salah provided the assist for the goal for Egypt. And I think this is where we're talking about African teams going toe-to-toe with the other European big teams and saying that, you know what, we're here to face you and we're not even going to mess around. We're going to fight. Omar Mamouche did have a couple of chances. He was a bit wasteful with some of those which he had. So I think Egypt should also be able to believe that they are in with a big shout. And it may be an outside chance, but I think the bare minimum for them, they should be targeting reaching the round of 32.
The most capped African team in terms of the Africa Cup should be able to show.
Yes,
at the World Cup.
The most successful team, indeed, like you mentioned, at AFCON with 7 trophies they have to their name, Egypt. But when you look at the last trophy when it came, the last time they had it, they had
it around in 2010 somewhere there.
And I think we should have Egypt to win the AFCON, because after Egypt, Zambia won it. So,
I get you.
So, but anyway, they are a good side equally, and their coach, his pedigree when he was a player is simply unmatched, especially in Egypt. So
I think we have a caller. Let's try to hear what they're going to say.
Okay.
Hello, you're through to Sports Charter name, and where are you calling us from? Oh, we've lost that caller. You can call us again if you want to contribute. Yes, you can continue.
Oh, yeah. So Egypt, with the coach who has had a really good success as a player, is now managing the team, and they played quite well. It was only Romelu Lukaku who forced that own goal from the defenders just to show his quality when he came on. That his
the striker has to do whatever they can. Whether
So I think Belgium is one of the big teams in that group, and it's an overwhelming favorite to progress from that group. And when you get a draw against them, you still want to see if the other teams that are coming through. I think we can try and give ourselves a glimmer of hope and go through beyond the group stages.
Okay, let's move forward to the highlight of the week, which is Cabo Verde.
Wow, that's.
I mean that game against 2010 world champions Spain.
it's a very special story for Cabo Verde, and a special story for the goalkeeper. He was simply not going to be beaten on that day. It was a sensational stop. I think that game, from the very first minute to the very end, it was an enthralling game altogether. And the Cabo Verde showed why they are there, that you know, we are here on merit. And for Spain, they did have the possession, but again, it's what matters is on the score sheet. They never had more than what Cabo Verde was able to produce. So you could feel maybe they were unlucky with a few chances, but credit given to Cabo Verde's defense and the goalkeeper. They were just...
Is what Bozida? That's a big name.
And he's now going to have the family watching.
I know that story where the mom failed to get the visa because of the money. And I mean, everybody has come forward and managed to get the visa for the lady and the family also. So
that's a very good story, and that's what football does. Football
Let's try to pick the score.
Oh yeah.
Hello, you're through to Sports Chat, and where are you calling us from?
My name is Abraham Monga, calling you from Cafe Gorge, Southern Province.
Okay, Abraham, you can give us your contribution.
Makamaka pali yamene mukamba po manje pa timu yake Cape Verde. Yo timu inamba manje kumbeka timu but mwamene chaira cha bipola fantastic. Even yasi ba Zambia tinga matching na ki timu yake Cape Verde ya Zambia.
Okay.
Tikari patari maningi kumachinga na timu. So timu yozaenda patari pa World Cup. But striking force chabe ilibe, defensive bonse, goalkeeper fantastic. So let us support this team.
All right.
As Africans,
Okay, thank you so much. All right, we have another caller. Let's pick this one. Yeah, through to Sports Chat, and then where are you calling us from? Okay, we've lost that caller.
I could see the script. The moment he started saying that Ija team. That's why now you say I would tell that this is where the script is going.
But Zambians are talking about the 1-0 that we beat them.
Oh yeah,
you remember?
But I think when we look at the balance of the team at the moment, I think you have energy from the back all the way up. I think you have energy, quality, and the technique that comes along with it is there to show for Cabo Verde. They just need to be a bit more precise, like he mentioned, in front of goal, because teams like Cabo Verde, in a game against Spain, you're not going to have a lot of chances. No. It's going to be few and far between.
They had very few chances. Yes.
So in the few chances that you're going to have, you need to try and make sure that you make use of even one that comes your way, because the chances are coming at a premium. But for them, I think much of the talk hasn't been about them not scoring, has been about them keeping a clean sheet against Spain.
It's against Spain.
And
who wouldn't be? That's why even the goalkeeper cried at the end of the day. Like that's the first time they're debutants at this World Cup, and they do that. They get a point from not any other ordinary team.
Yes.
One of the champions, one of the best teams.
And they're defending European champions in Spain. So, and we know just how good they are, because Spain on any other day against anybody, they beat them. So I think it was a very good result for Cabo Verde, and a very good story altogether for the people of Cabo Verde.
Yeah, definitely. Senegal lost to France.
When that game started, Senegal and France, I think it was a game where, like we were talking about the quality of African players now, you can look at them and they can say, we can go toe-to-toe. It did have memories of the 2002 game where Papa Bouba Diop went on to score for Senegal when they beat France in 2002. They beat them by 1-0. And at some point when that game settled, you would feel like, again, Sadio Mane might inspire this side to get something out of this game. And Iliman Ndiaye was not, he did not start that game, but you look at the quality of the players that started and those who were on the bench who could be brought on to make some difference. That's a very good squad which Senegal has, and they can still feel that despite losing that game, they can go on and achieve great things that can even reach the round of 32 as the minimum qualification. But
I mean, France is just at another level.
Kylian Mbappe was simply very, very good.
I mean, he scored a brace in that, and he contributed. It was just a different level. Not to say Senegal was bad. They tried. If you look at even just the first half, it would tell you something. It went scoreless. The second half. That's a good half time. Yeah,
that's a good one. You mentioned. You know, sometimes the scoreline doesn't tell the full story of the game.
Yeah.
The scoreline might be flattering to France, but when you look at how Michael Olise was playing, that pass for the opening goal, that's a very good pass. Desiree Doué, Bakola, also those are very good players for France. defense, and of course Adrian Rabiot with the experience that he brings in together with Tchouaméni in midfield. I think there's a very good balance between those two. But Kylian Mbappe's pace, trickery, and the precision and the hunger that he has, because he would want to hold this trophy at some point. So, and that's the reason why I think he always turns up for the national team, and he always turns up in those. I think he hasn't had the best of seasons for Real Madrid when he's been there. He would have loved to win the La Liga. He hasn't, and he knows that he needs to get his hands on this trophy, and maybe he could do that this time around. Having lost in the last in the 2022 final to Argentina, maybe this could be the Mbappe moment. And at the moment, he's so far. So good.
I highly doubt, because you were in the final, you scored a hat trick and failed to win.
Yes.
I'm not saying that happened.
And it's not a bad thing if you fail to win against Messi.
Not. Just because it's Messi.
It's not a bad thing.
No, but I think, that was just, anyway, it wasn't their day. We can say that it wasn't their day. Messi and Argentina played very well, and they managed to win that. But anyway, France is one of the teams that looks like can also reach the finals.
Yeah, they do, and they're quite
because
good.
There's nothing much that has changed from 2022 edition.
In goal, they have the experience of Maignan, who is very good. Theo Hernandez at left back. I think when you look at the squad of the French squad, it's always going to bring in the quality. It's always going to bring in the physicality. In the heart of defense, Konate did get some minutes, but Upamecano is very physical, plays for Bayern Munich. So you look at quality all over the pitch for the French national side, and they will continue having that. And for now, their minimum target, I think, having reached the final last time out, they would want to go on and win it. They are among the favorites, undoubtedly. And Olise will be
almost everything favors them at the moment. If you look at just the age of the players, also, that's a peak.
Yeah.
Most of the players are, so it's a team that I feel is going to reach the finals again.
They are very good. It would take something special to beat them. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about Tunisia. They chased their coach even after that 5-1 defeat to Sweden.
I think what they have to understand is that, again, when you bring in Hervé Renard at this stage of the competition,
what is he going to do? What is he going to do? They're already in, and they are playing against Netherlands.
They are already in the very tough group.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at the group they are in, Sweden, it's a very good side.
Yeah.
And they have players like Victor Gyökeres, fresh from winning the Premier League with Arsenal. Alexander Isak, he didn't have the best of seasons last year in the Premier League, but with the opening goal, we saw the quality that he has, that he still has it, and he has it aplenty. So it was a game where you just look at it and say, okay, we lost against a very good side who turned up on the day. Let's focus on the next game. They sacked the manager. They are in their own wisdom, which is the right decision according to them. They brought on Hervé Renard. Good to see him back at the World Cup. He was there with Saudi Arabia last time out. So good to have him back. But I still feel he's just.
I don't think he can do much. I don't think he can do much. I feel like, for me, honestly, his level is Africa Cup, and he's. We have to be honest. He's done very well for African teams at continental level and winning. What has he done at world level?
Well, he got Saudi Arabia a very good result last time out.
It's just a game against Argentina. It's just a game.
A good result against Argentina last time out, and
I know that's why.
But when you look at the squad, when you look at Saudi Arabia. The squad that they are going to have, even if they had Pep Guardiola, they are not going to go through beyond that. So I think he's a very good manager, but maybe with the French women national team, when he stayed at the time with them, that's where he would feel maybe he would have done a little bit more because he had the quality.
Maybe the idea is to finish respectively, maybe the group, and maybe just try and do a little better.
That's the thing. Probably that's the bare minimum would be let's finish respectfully, and then we are going to sit down with you, and then let's see how you can plan for the AFCON,
and qualify. Maybe qualifying for the next World Cup. Maybe that. Otherwise, I'm not seeing anything. Let's move forward and talk about the last team, Ghana. They won their first game against Panama, and they play England. On Tuesday.
We are talking about Morocco having reached the semi-finals of the World Cup as the first African side. Previously, it was Ghana in 2010 who reached the quarterfinals. And they were inches away from going into the semi-finals, if not for Luis Suarez, or at least the crossbar that denied Asamoah Gyan the penalty. So
I know that never goes away. That never goes away.
So currently, Antoine Semenyo is the biggest star that Ghana has.
Yeah.
Jordan Ayew, the captain, obviously his Leicester side got relegated, but he's the captain and obviously brings something different. It brings the quality and the experience of having played a tournament football before. But Antoine Semenyo, he will be the one having a lot of pressure on his shoulders for the Ghanaians and hoping that their star is going to shine. But they are up against the three Lions, who should really be getting a lot of confidence from the previous game. And they always sing this. They always sing, it's coming home, it's coming home. Football.
It's never going home. It doesn't go home. It doesn't go back home.
It doesn't know the location.
It doesn't know the location. Yeah, but I like the fact that they started on a winning note.
Yeah.
This game, they should also push for a draw, though it will be very difficult.
Yeah.
Because look at how I watched that game against Croatia. Croatia is a very solid team.
Very, very.
And they beat them squarely and fairly, 4-2.
So it's like the story of Algeria and Jordan. You know that this is a team that you're supposed to beat, and you need to do that. That was the story of Ghana and Panama. It was Ghana has to beat Panama, and they beat them by a goal to nil. They had to do that. So now against England, you go into that game and you look at the players toe to toe. You'd feel like maybe Ghana may not have enough to get over there. But again, they just have to try and get something out of that game against England. They just need a point to at least guarantee themselves a round of 32 place. And it's about where can we get the point? Can we get it against England on Tuesday night? Or can we get it against Croatia, who by then Croatia from their part as well will be hoping to get a very good result, having suffered a defeat in the first game against England.
Croatia also, it will be very tough.
It will be.
It will be very tough, but they should push for a point, at least not lose. Okay, let's try to pick this score. We hear what, maybe this is our last call. Hello? Yeah, through to Sports Chat and okay, we've lost that call. We've lost that caller. So we are concluding. Amongst all the teams that we've talked about, the African teams, which ones do you think, okay, at least this one, it's a must, they're going into even the round of 16?
Difficult to say that it's a must, but obviously Morocco, all but sure that they're going to go to the round of 32. I think Senegal should have enough to go through. Ghana should equally have enough to go through. Do I see past that? Ivory Coast probably to make it 4 African teams. I think for the rest,
that would be very good.
A difficult story.
Let's try to pick this score. We hear what they're going to say. Yeah, through to Sports Chat and name and where calling us from.
Hello.
Yes, yeah, through to Sports Chat and name and where calling us from.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we've lost that caller. Yes, so you're saying about 4 teams.
So just 4 teams, and so those like Ghana. I would also pick, like I mentioned, Morocco. I would also pick Ivory Coast, that they should have something to go through. And Senegal, I think they equally should have something. Algeria, if they can beat Jordan, then they can cross that river.
Yeah.
River Jordan.
I would love Congo to do well. But that is, I'm talking from my heart, actually. I'm not talking from, I would love them to go through.
Yeah, it would be nice if
it would be nice. But I know Morocco are definitely going to go through the round of 32, obviously, unless otherwise, but obviously they already have 4 points. Ghana, the teams that have won games, they look like they can advance to the round of 32. Morocco, I think they're likely to go even beyond that.
I think just a matter of mathematics for Morocco. They are all but sure to go through the round of 32.
Yeah.
So the games are coming thick and fast, especially in the group stages.
Yeah.
And we are going to look forward to the entertainment and the excitement that comes with them. But obviously the playoffs, that's next week equally. There's something to look forward to, because these are days, Monday to Friday, of nothing but non-stop double headers at 4 different venues. It will be a very good week.
Thank you so much, Mukengi, for coming through.
Always a pleasure to be here.
All right, definitely. Watch the game against between Germany and Ivory Coast. That is a game to watch. And make sure you watch the playoffs that are starting on Monday. It's been Victoria Linosi. Continue watching Crown TV.